What I have here is a female vocal that I recorded in Abbey Road Studio 3. Let's listen.
Breathe softly, don't worry. I've heard all of these words before. It's just another rewind. I can tell you every line you're gonna say.
Okay, so this was recorded through a B&K 4011 or 4011, if you like. B&K is now DPA. This is known as a very clean microphone. I used other microphones in this session, and I have other recordings that demonstrate those. And one of them was a Neumann U47, which is a very rich sounding microphone. So the trick would be to try and take a clean microphone and change it into a Neumann U47. Okay, you can't do that. But to add some extra harmonics, a little extra sparkle, a little extra feel, atmosphere, air, whatever you like to call it. I've got some settings here that I quite like. So I'm going to play the track through and I'll flick the bypass on and off. When it's lit up, the bypass is active, so therefore there is no Freqtube. So this is Freqtube on, Freqtube off. Here we go.
Breathe softly, don't worry. I've heard all of these words before. It's just another rewind. I can tell you every line you're gonna say. Don't hesitate, it's easy, it's okay. Just one more time, just once more round. Don't drop me, just put me down.
I think I might have gone just a little bit over the top there, but hey, I want you to be able to hear what the Freqtube is doing. So I'll go through the controls in turn and we'll see what each of them is doing in this instance. So let's have a go with the drive. You'll notice I've got the +18 button selected. So the drive normally only goes up to 12, but with +18 I can get it up to 23 according to my arithmetic. So let's play with that and see what happens.
Breathe softly, don't worry. I've heard all of these words before. It's just another rewind. I can tell you.
You can see there's a point where it really is too much. Let's just hear that too much again.
Breathe softly.
Yeah, that's cracking, so we don't want that. What we can see in the filters here, this is the parallel filter, so it affects the dry signal. And I've got a low-pass filter, and it's set to a frequency of around 6 kilohertz. I only seem to be able to see the frequency when I change the control, which is a bit of a nuisance, but we can manage. Over on this side, the primary filter affects the tubified signal. So conversely, I've got a high-pass filter and 24 decibels per octave, so it's quite a steep slope there. And I've got a frequency of 8,200. That's near enough to... It's a bit tricky to operate. Maybe there's a modifier key on the keyboard that'll give me fine control, but I just haven't discovered it yet. It might be worth playing with the primary filter. Let's just see what we get, and I'll try and get back to where we started from.
Breathe softly, don't worry. I've heard all of these words before. It's just another rewind. I can tell you every line you're gonna say.
Yes, I just like it really on that top end. If I start bringing it down too low, it's getting too fizzy and too spitty. But it might be fixable with the drive control. There's just so many options here. Let's go down to the tube and I'll change it for the 1287. So let's have a listen to that. There might be a green banner pops up just here, but it's because I'm using screen recording software and we can just ignore it. Here we go.
Breathe, don't worry. I've heard all of these words before. Rewind, I can tell you every line. Don't hesitate, it's easy.
I think in this case I prefer the 128T7 marginally. I think for most of the other sound sources I've tried, my preference, yours might be different, is for the E83CC, but I'll leave it on the 128T7 and see what we get going further. Harmonic-wise, I've only got this on one, biased towards what I consider the good side, and this is the dark side for me. But let's just hear it and see what we get.
Breathe softly. softly, don't worry. I've heard all of these words before. It's just another rewind. I can tell you every line you're gonna say.
I definitely prefer this side, and I'm going to leave it on 23, which is a bit more than I had previously. Now, when you use the filters, this analog mix control becomes very important because it doesn't just affect the amount of tubification you've got, it affects the frequency balance as well. So it's just slightly biased towards the dry here, but let's have a play with it and see what we get.
Breathe softly, don't worry. All of these words.
So clearly the wet signal is unusable by itself because of that extreme filtering. So we've just got to find the right point where it brings in the right amount of tube warmth.
Breathe softly, don't worry. I've heard all of these words before. It's just another rewind. I can tell you every line you're gonna say. Don't hesitate, it's easy, it's okay. Just one more time.
It's around there for the purpose of demonstration. I think maybe in a real world project, maybe that would be too much, but it depends on preferences. What I'll do now is I'll go through the whole thing and I'll flick the bypass on and off and we'll see what we get. And I'll start with the bypass on, so no Freqtube, no harmonics, just clean. Here we go.
Breathe softly, don't worry. I've heard all of these words before. It's just another rewind. I can tell you every line you're gonna say. Don't hesitate, it's easy, it's okay. Just one more time, just once more round. Don't drop me, just put me down. My heart will mend.
Okay, so there we have it. The Freqtube on female vocal.